It's Graham Cofe with another My Music. Thanks for joining us. And in a minute, I'm going to be speaking to my friend Nell here. But first, this.
I need to get going, Mel. See you later.
Nell Davies, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good. You're not in a field, I can see. So you haven't made your way to Glastonbury to join the
Oh,
throng.
God. No, I can't imagine anything worse. No.
Oh, really?
I'm not a festival kind of person.
You're not a festival kind of person, but the music you would enjoy, though.
Oh, I'd like the music if you didn't have to deal with the camping and the toilets and people.
That's very true. Yeah, it was something that I enjoyed doing when I was 21, but not now necessarily.
Yeah.
So music and you, how did they come together? What started your passion for music?
Well, it depends whether you mean it as like a listener or as actually making it myself, because making it myself is really recent. It was basically a lockdown thing.
Right.
Then the lead up to lockdown, I was having a bit of a midlife crisis. Well, a lot of a midlife crisis, actually, which was basically due to being absolutely bored out of my mind. I had nothing creative. I felt like everything fun in my life had already happened. There was never going to be any fun ever again. And then lockdown happened, which didn't help. And then during lockdown, I happened to read Viv Albertine's autobiography, the guitarist from the Slits.
Yeah.
Which it was just the most inspiring thing I've ever read. And she talks about, in her 50s, I think, started to sing for the first time, and the shame she had about her voice. And I'd always loved the idea of doing music, but I couldn't sing. I didn't think I could sing. I couldn't bear the thought of singing in front of anyone. And she talks about having singing lessons and being just sitting crying because she couldn't bring herself to sing. And I just thought, God, if she can get past that and learn to sing, maybe I could too. So I bought a guitar. I found a course online on, I think it was literally called How to Write Your First Song. And wrote a song. It was crap. Wrote some more. Some of them weren't so crap. Sang in front of people. Nobody died. No one threw anything. The world didn't end. And kind of went from there, really.
Yeah. Well, actually, what you're proving there, there are several things. One is it's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late with music. If you feel that passion inside yourself to do that creative process and get involved, then it's never too late to start.
Yeah.
But you're also bringing out another really good point there, which is that, you can get better as well.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about putting the work in, and it's about, nobody starts. Absolutely. Well, there's the odd person, but we'll discount those people that literally pop out of their mother and immediately start singing scales. But most people have to develop and learn from somewhere.
Absolutely. And I had this idea that particularly writing songs, that it was like divinely ordained, like it came out of the universe to these very special people. It's just maths. It's just chords, that some chords go together, some don't. I like maths. Maths is easy. I can do maths. I just had no sense that it was a thing that you could learn. I think it's also like, obviously, when I was a teenager, it was so difficult to get access to information. Now you go on YouTube and you find out tips about how to write songs, which just wasn't available to me. I didn't know anyone who did music, so I didn't know anyone who could tell me how keys work and which chords go together. It's so easy to find it now.
This is fascinating, because we have had people on here, I mean, and some very famous people who do believe in it's out there in the universe, and it gravitates
towards
them. There's a bit
of that.
And they're just a channel for the song. And look, and I do believe actually for some people that really is the case. Although even then, when I've delved a bit deeper, they've had to really study their instrument, and they've had to really
they've done their 10,000 hours of practice.
They've done all of that as well, and they've been a geek in the bedroom, etc. But so you've learned you're a YouTube generation in terms of finding out that way. What was the greatest tip that you found?
Oh, God. That's a really good question.
One little nugget. one little nugget.
Do you know, this is very specific to me. I sing really high, and I thought I couldn't sing because most of the singers I like are men, and so I try and sing along with their songs and be like, it just sounded horrible. And it was just that it was all too low. And when I was writing songs, they were all too low. And as soon as I put them up a bit, the power of the capo, it was like, oh, I can sing. It's fine. I just was trying to sing like a man. So,
there you go. That was the
tip.
key lesson. The power of the capo.
Yeah.
Move it along the fret. For people that don't know what a capo is, obviously most of the musician people that were listening will know, and you know, the musician geeks. But for other people that don't know, it's a device that you can put along the neck of the guitar, and it therefore changes the key. So rather than have to learn where you put your fingers in different places, you can literally just unclap it, put it somewhere else, and up you go. There you go. As simple as that. As simple as that. That's fantastic. And what about chords? Are you one of those people? So I can talk to you about this because you've kind of learned fairly recently.
Yeah.
Are you one of those people that tries to learn every single chord and like follows?
Oh,
a book?
good God, no.
Or
no.
as soon as you've got a finger position in one place, do you immediately go, I wonder what happens if I move that?
Yeah,
up here.
I have invented chords. Yeah,
Great.
But that's because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not doing it all in the spirit of like a.
No, you do.
Child.
You do.
Yeah, a child with a box of Lego and no instructions. I don't, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you do and you don't. That's the beauty of it, because I feel that people that are really creative, whilst they really want to learn all of the structure and everything else as well, you know, just want to play.
Yeah.
And by play, I don't mean play music, but they just want to play with that creativity. Yeah. It's like being faced with a big lump of, you know, Play-Doh, etc. And you've got all of the cutters there, etc. But you go, do you know what? It'd be really interesting to see what happens if I use kitchen utensils on this.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, sometimes it's because you get those ideas in your head. It's just like, well, this is so pliable. What can I do with it? You know, and the cutters are useful. You know, the cutters are like your chords, etc. And it's like, well, let's learn A and then G and then E minor and etc. But you know, sometimes if it's like, let's see what happens if I just put my fingers here. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, that's great.
Well, you know, I've just got my finger in the wrong place. I quite like the way it sounds. That's quite a common occurrence.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention, you say, are you asking about how I got into music in terms of writing it? And that's recently, but you know, it's a different story in terms of listening. When did you first listen to music, or when's your first memories?
Do you know, my very, very first memory actually is musical, and it's of watching some kids in the park singing Brown Girl in the Ring when I was coming up on 2, which is so random. Yeah. But I guess when I was like, so my favorite band of all time is Manic Street Preachers, and I probably got into them when I was 14, 15, and they were the world to me as a teenager. Absolutely, like, completely shaped who I am as a person.
Wow.
Or read all the books that Richie told me to read, watched all the films.
Yeah.
What
was it about the Manic Street Preachers? Was it just the music, or was it the story? I mean,
it was like everything.
Yeah.
I never had like a cool older sibling or an inspiring teacher or anything, or anyone who would tell me like, oh, you'll like this book, or you might like this film. And that's what the Manics were to me. They were like my cool older brothers, and they were so cool. They were absolutely everything to me. And Riot Girl as well was a huge thing to me.
Wow.
My friend wanted to start a Riot Girl band, but we were far too shy and didn't know where to begin.
And you mentioned, you know, books there as well, and that's twice now you've mentioned books. And you know, I totally agree with you as well about music books or books by musicians, autobiographical books by musicians being so motivational. I mean, it's all I read. And it took me a long time in my life to realize that that's what I should be reading, because I hated reading for ages and ages and ages. And it's because I tried to read pap. I tried to read sort of novels, you know, and with stories in and stuff. And I just couldn't get into it. I thought, why can't I can just watch the film, right?
Yeah.
But suddenly my world opened up because I've always loved music. My world opened up when I suddenly found these books by musicians about their life story and everything else.
Right.
And for me, I go along to network meetings now during the week, and everybody else is holding up, 1,000 ways to do business or whatever. And I always go along with a autobiography by a musician. I say, you'll learn more from this book about business and life than you will in any other book like that. Do you agree?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't read books nearly as much as I should. I've got that thing everyone seems to have now, like massively short attention span. But yeah, definitely, yeah. And books just by creative, interesting people, you're just going to learn so much, aren't you?
Well, exactly. I mean, and the other thing is, you read those kind of business type books, their lives are so dull. I mean, you want a bit of you want a bit of action in there, and typically, famous musicians have had a bit of action along the way as well. Getting locked up in jail here, or being, starved here, or getting burnt on set of a video over here. It's interesting. It's interesting stuff along the way. Yeah. So, what are you writing songs about? What are you feeling you got to get out there?
Well, I think it's really interesting when you start writing songs, because then you look back at what you've written songs about and you learn so much about yourself. So I've just realized loads of the songs I've written recently, I do think I've got like a slightly different perspective on life to a lot of people who are writing songs, probably because I'm older. And I've written loads of songs recently that are about my tendency to overthink everything and overanalyze everything. And trying to work out if that's a good way to be, or if it's better to be more happy-go-lucky and not think about things. And it totally is a good way to be, because I think people who don't overthink things seem to get to a point in middle age where everything goes a bit, I don't know if I'm allowed to say tits up. I'm trying to think of a better way of saying that.
No, that's
like
right.
Everything goes a bit wrong. Okay, everything goes a bit wrong. And and I think being over-analytical about everything is definitely a better way to be. So that's something I've been writing a lot about. When I first started writing songs, I kept writing songs about my kids, because I just thought there's no rock songs about parenting. That's really weird. It's like a huge gap, like a taboo subject, human experience that people are not looking at. So I wrote one about my guilt at everything I got wrong when the kids were little that I can't undo, and one about my daughter's teen angst and not being able to help her. They weren't very good songs. It was when I was just learning. But I sort of want to write songs about things that are a bit different.
I think that's fantastic, and there's a massive audience out there for that as well, because there's loads of us with lots of kids. Yeah, I've got 5 of my own. One of them's now working for me. He's upstairs. He's going to edit this later. But it's I mean, it gets to a point, especially these days. I mean, I've followed music and the charts for ever and a day, and I'll be completely honest now, I'm beginning to struggle with following what's popular in certain instances now. I mean, if it's the likes of Ed Sheeran, who I went to see in concert the other day, was absolutely brilliant, and young people like Harry Styles, I get it. I think they're writing great pop songs. I think that that's fine. But all of this kind of no decrying that. I'm sure a lot of people love it, but it just doesn't resonate with me. I'm just not. The lyrics like, I grabbed a chicken leg on the way out. It's like.
No, that says nothing to me about my life.
It just doesn't say to me as a parent of 5 kids that's working, that's trying to keep things better. Just doesn't more like I got stuck in the car park at Lidl's while screaming in the back. Now that would be a great lyric.
So and why are there no lyrics like that?
Is that what you're trying to do there? Is you're
I guess and I think
just be honest.
And I'm quite a strange person to be writing songs. Until I was 40, I was painfully shy. It's only recently I've sort of found my voice. And I think just the idea of somebody who's very introverted writing songs is just quite unusual, obviously, because most singers are very extrovert, very show-offy, which is not, there's probably still a great deal of courage needing to put yourself out there and be vulnerable in your songs and stuff. But it's a different kettle of fish, really.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because actually I've had so many singers on this show of all different levels, from just starting out to multi-million selling platinum out artists, and most of them are introverts.
That's interesting.
I don't know whether what I think, and here's my view on this, is I think there's a lot of people out there that are either ambiverts, they're both.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain situations where they're incredibly shy, but they're actually in other situations they're extroverts, or they're what I would like to call a shy extrovert. So they're actually, you know, there's a part of them that wants to be that. Maybe how you were with a kid. Were you, when you were a kid, did you ever, you know, like to perform in front of people?
No, I was painfully shy.
Really?
Shy. Yeah, like bordering on selectively mute. Yeah, really shy. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, we had one child that was selectively mute for a while. It's incredibly worrying. But there's an element with him actually where, you know, he's starting to do amateur dramatics at the moment, etc. And actually, when he's up on stage, he's comes out of himself.
Yeah, I can see that's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Is there something about playing a role, being behind a mask?
I'm sure there is. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've never really performed live. I've done like online open mics, which is not the same thing as being in a room full of people. But I was sort of thinking about, okay, if I was going to perform live, what would I do? I'd wear sunglasses, definitely. Like, so I don't have to look at anyone. I can totally see that if you can separate yourself off from people in some way and play a role.
We go back to the old Manic Street Preachers things there. You know, the sunglasses, you know, maybe sort of some flowers. Really dress yourself up and become someone different for the occasion.
Yeah, it's performance art then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is performance art. Yeah. Now you've I saw in your bio you've managed to get on BBC Introducing. How was that? How did they find you?
I just they have a website where you can just upload stuff, and they picked one of my songs.
Just as simple as that.
It's so funny. It's so bizarre hearing yourself on the BBC. I was so excited, and then when it actually came on, I literally had to throw my headphones off. I ran away, fell down the stairs, ended up pacing backwards and forwards across the kitchen. I couldn't listen to it. It was too much.
But for someone that, you know, possibly months before was in a place where it's like, no one's going to want to listen to me. I don't even think I can sing. I can't play, etc. To suddenly then be from there to, you know, being played on the BBC. I mean,
it was awesome.
What a transformation! Cool. Isn't that great? Yeah. I mean, then
the imposter syndrome kicks in.
Does it?
Which I'm trying not to be. Oh yeah, no, it's I have really fight the urge to be self-deprecating because I know how irritating it is. I don't think it's cute when other people do it. So I try not to. Like, Jesus.
What do you just so we know what do you do outside of music now?
I do bits and pieces of writing. My background, I worked in magazines in my youth, and now I do sort of bits of copywriting. Nothing interesting at all.
Nothing interesting.
Nothing vaguely interesting.
Well, but there you go. Maybe one day, you know, as you pursue this, maybe one day, what one of the things that you can do is you can encourage other people and get paid for that. Encourage other people to follow the same kind of path and say, look, you can do this. I mean, I think we get coaches for everything else. I'd love to see people of our age going, do you know what? I got to this point in my life. I had this probably an existential crisis about everything, but you know, I had the children, I've done this, I've done that, I've, you know, got this experience over there, but always thought I'd love to do that, but I really can't do it. But actually, do you know what? I did do it. Maybe you could write a book on it or a pamphlet.
Yeah. Well, I've always tried to be really open about that because I think it's really important that Viv Albertine book meant so much to me, that her being honest about how ashamed she was of singing and how terrified she was. Because you just assume that other people go through life and everything's a breeze, don't you? And it's that thing of comparing your insides to everyone else's outsides.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Now, listen, back then when you were young, you were listening to the Manic Street Preachers. Of course, they're still going now. I mean, they've just done a massive tour with the Killers, etc. Yeah. Did you go?
They came to the Great Estate Festival in Cornwall. I saw them there. I queued on the barrier for 8.5 hours to make sure I was right at the front, which, you know, queuing on a barrier for 8.5 hours is a young woman's game. My back was so sore, but it was worth it.
So good, isn't it? I know. I was saying that when we went to the Ed Sheeran concert, we had tickets on the stand, and it was fine. It was just Amber Lynn, etc. And I said to my wife, "Normal, you know, years ago I'd be down there, right at the front." And I said, "But you do have to queue all day
Yeah.
literally all day. I remember going to see U2 twice at Wembley Stadium, etc., and I was right at the front. But literally, you kind of arrive there at silly hour in the morning, and you sleep on the tarmac and everything.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the ambition with this? Where do you want this to go? Or do you
have no
do you
idea.
not have a plan?
At the moment, I'm taking it song by song. You know, I write a song, I'm going to put it out and let's see if people like it. And so far, people seem to like it. So I don't have any like grand ambitions, really. It's funny, I get all the on Facebook and stuff, I get all the adverts now for all the songwriting courses and courses on marketing your music. And, you know, everyone wants to extract money from wannabe singers. There's a whole industry there. But it's all about, you know, you can give up your day job and live the dream. I'm like, so I really want to. I don't think I want to monetize it, really. I'm quite happy just pottering around in my pigsty.
And let's be frank here, not most people can't do that. Most people can't actually monetize it to the. A lot of the people that have been doing it for years, that have even played with some of the biggest artists, can't actually give up their day job to do it. So, you know, stop trying to fool everyone into thinking that they can, because it's not possible, you know.
And then it would be a job and it would be boring and rubbish. I'd rather just have it be this joyful thing. Yeah,
that maybe brings you other opportunities through what you're doing. Exactly. That's the best way. That is absolutely the best way to look at it. So Manic Street Preachers was, I'll come back to my own question. Manic Street Preachers was what you were listening to then. What are you listening to now? Is there anything that perks your attention now?
Do you know, it's really cool because I had a long period of time when my kids were little where I didn't listen to any new music. I was completely out of touch with everything. And just last few years, I've started finding new music again, and it's so exciting. I'm obsessed with Wet Leg, their album. I just think it's brilliant. I listen to it every. Well, yeah, quite. I think I've listened to that album every day since it came out. I just love it. It's so funny and clever, and I just think they're great.
Yeah, there's a kind of punky attitude to that, isn't there? There's a kind of just. You know, throw it to you kind of attitude. It's like,
and an authenticity as well. You know, they're singing about real things, and I just think they're great. And funny and clever.
There's a video of them on YouTube where I think they're playing. Is it the Green Man Festival, something like that? And the two of them at the front, the two young ladies at the front, are trying so desperately not to fall into fits of giggles whilst
they always are. They're having so much fun, don't they? You just want to be in their gang. You wish they were your mates and you could hang out with them. I
feel that's what's really capturing people. It's the fact that it's like, you know, they're looking at each other going, you know, the excuse me, what bit? It's like,
it's brilliant, isn't it?
They're about to fall over with fits of giggles. And that pulls people in. It's kind of you're right. It's a gang thing. It's kind of.
I think the Manics talk about that. I mean, and Baby Manics had that so much. You just wanted to be in their gang. They just looked so cool. Yeah. I think all the best bands have that.
Very, very definitely. Absolutely. If you could work with someone, here's a great question, which I often end with. If you could work with anybody, alive or dead, in music, who would it be and why?
That's really hard because most of the people I admire, I'd be far too shy and far too intimidated to work with, and it would be horrible.
But we'll ask them anyway.
Yeah. If I can have a personality transplant and be really confident. I don't know. I mean, I feel compelled to say the Manics because they're my favourite band. But I met James Dean Bradfield once and I could barely remember how to speak English.
It's like,
awful. Just giggling. I was just communicating through the power of giggling.
I love that.
So bad.
That's great.
Because I had nothing to say to him. Because what are you going to say? Oh, I really like your music. I've been a big fan for 30 years.
Well, that will do. You know, I mean, that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
But anyone else?
Who else do I like?
Any female artists?
Yeah. Oh, I really love Helen Love. She's been a big inspiration to me. I went to see her last week in London. It was everything I hoped it would be. It's just really fun. Really
what is it about Helen and her music that?
It's very unpretentious. It's very funny. Very relatable. I think I found her quite inspiring as well because it does sound like she sort of made it all herself in her back bedroom, which is kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I like that she's like. I love her Ramones obsession. I love that she's really open about the things that she's obsessed with and the things that she loves. I just think that's great.
Yeah. Well, maybe there you go. But there's a song for you. I love the Manic Street Preachers. I think you could.
Oh, I might have already written that, but maybe it might never see the light of day though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a real fangirl thing.
Oh yeah, I've written so many songs that are never seeing the light of day, but yeah, that's one of them.
Well, that's great. Yeah, but that's lovely as well, isn't it? I mean, you've got those songs for you and your family.
Yeah.
Just I'm playing this just for you. Nobody else is ever going. Anyone else is going to hear it.
Yeah. Well, after my death, maybe someone will find my laptop and they can be released or something.
Yeah. And listen, I think, Nell, it's been a pleasure meeting you, and I think, although you don't possibly believe it, I think you've got a great sense of humour, and I think you come across really well.
Oh, thank you.
I think
I fooled you.
Yeah, you fooled me and everybody else. But so
Excellent.
I think you've got something to offer the world, even beyond the music. And I do think it is this. I honestly think you could help other people in the same situation to have the confidence to do this. So maybe that's a thing for the future for you.
Maybe.
Little talks. Introducing Little Talks by Nell, where she plays one of her songs and then she talks about, you can do this.
Oh, you definitely can do this. If I can do it, anyone can. Yeah. That's actually a really nice idea.
Yeah. If you could say anything to your younger self, would it now be, why didn't you do this earlier?
I've thought about that a lot, and I think if I tried to do this earlier, it would have been rubbish because I wouldn't have known enough about what it was I wanted to say. I wish I'd known when I was younger that I could do something like this, and not that people wouldn't be negative about it, because some people have been really negative about it, but that I wouldn't care. I'm really surprised how little I've cared about negative reactions. Like, it doesn't really matter if people are negative, and most people are just not that interested. You might as well do what you like because most people don't care. So you might as well try and figure out what feeds your soul and do that, and not worry about what people think.
Well, that's absolutely perfect thing to end on. Nell, you've absolutely nailed it. People out there, stop caring quite so much. I think it's,
unless you like murdering people or something like that, you should care what people think about that. But
well,
clearly, just making silly records.
Clearly not. But I think it is one thing that most people have learnt during the pandemic. And if we've learnt anything and we take things forward, it's like, life is too short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seize the day, carpe diem and all that. Get out there, and if you feel that you want to do these things, do these things, and don't care if people laugh at you. Because it at the end of the day, you do it for you first.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
there always will be, if it's authentic, there will always be a group of people that appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
You can't please all the people all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some people watch this show and absolutely love it. Other people leave little comments like, that was the worst interview I've ever seen.
Really? And they watched it. They not got anything else to watch on the entire internet.
Well, no, I'll tell you what it is very quickly before we go. It's some people have their own perception before an interview starts. When you get a certain guest on, they have their own perception of what they would want you to ask a guest.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right.
You've not done it exactly how they would do it.
Oh, I've had things where, like, I had Colin Moulding on who was the bass player and one of the writers in XTC. Brilliant guy. Yeah. And I had one guy slate me on YouTube who was like, well, that was rubbish, that interview, because what I wanted was technical information about what equipment you use and why. And I just responded back, yeah, that's fine, mate. Happy, thanks for the lovely feedback. But I said, that to me, that's dull as dishwater. I don't really want to know that. I wanted
to. It's a different interview, isn't it?
It's a different interview. If you go and find someone else that will do that, or do that interview yourself. If that's what you want, there you go. Go and do that interview yourself. I was more interested in the man behind the music rather than, whether he uses a DT10 or and what and does he have his fader at 6. I really, couldn't be bothered with that. I just wanted to know why they wrote the songs that they wrote and why they were so interesting as people. There we go. Thanks for joining us. Now, if people want to listen to your music now, where do they find it?
It's available on all streaming services, or you can go to my website, which is nelldavies.com, and sign up for my newsletter. And
so simple.
So simple. Couldn't be simple. No excuse not to listen. I'm basically everywhere. You can't avoid me.
Now, we're going to start promoting these very soon. And in order to promote them, we just need to get a little sound clip from yourself, right?
Okay.
We're asking a whole load of the famous people that have been on before as well to do a similar thing, so that we can collate them all together. There's a little trend going on a certain platform called TikTok at the moment. Never heard of it.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, I know.
It's
kind of children's toys area. But what we're going to do the similar thing, right? So I'll give you a second to think about this. What you've got to do is you've got to introduce yourself as a band or an artist, but not with your name, and then come up with a random title for your new song as well. So that your name is random, and also the title of your new song is random. So you can be as creative as possible. It could be something like, "Hi, yeah, we're the Orange Buckets of Doom, and this is our new single, A Light That Never Comes On."
Right. Okay.
All right.
Right. Okay. But that's actually quite easy, because I'm obsessed with coming up with band names, and I've got a post-it note right in front of me with my favourite band names.
Okay. Here we go. So before we leave Nell today, here she is as someone else.
Hi, I'm Boiled by Bees, and this is my new song, Pigeon Suicides.
Sorry, we lost a bit of audio there at the end.
No.
So just do it one more time.
Okay. Hi, I'm Boiled by Bees, and this is my new song, Pigeon Suicides.
Yay! That's fantastic. We're going to clip that out, put it along with everybody else's, and we'll have a whole load of. BBC
I just thought my post-it notes finally came in useful. I've been saving them up for ages.
BBC introducing are going to have a field day. They're going to get so confused because they're going to think there's a whole load more new artists out there that they want to introduce. There we go.
New alter ego. Yeah.
Nell, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
And look out for Nell across the interweb and download and listen to her music. Bye for now.
Thank you.